You gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall.
All right, so let us start seated today. And seated for you is whatever feels comfortable. Cross-legged, Sukhasana, Siddhasana, Padmasana, half lotus, full lotus, whatever that is. And our mudra is the Bu mudra. So Bu mudra is the two fingers just together, index and middle finger. And then those fingers face downwards and you rest the thumb just onto the back of the knees. So the two fingers, the Bu mudra, points downwards towards the earth. And the elbows are nicely relaxed. They're not stretched out. So your elbows are soft and relaxed here. And relax the shoulders away from the ears. And last week we worked on the upper body. So just have those feelings about the upper body that you had last week when you left the practice, the openness of the chest, the extension through the spine, the feeling of release through the shoulders, the upper back, and the chest. And that softness through the facial muscles, through the frown lines. Relax through the jaw and the teeth. Soften through the eyelids. Maybe the eyes are open or closed. You can always take a soft gaze if you do not want to close the eyes. And as we focus on the upper body, let's start to focus and anchor ourselves to our breathing rhythm, our pranayama of samavriti. Equal breath, breathing in and out through the nostrils of equal length, and trying to make those breaths 2 to 3 times longer than our usual breath. You start to feel the inhale breath traveling around the body, not just to the upper body, but to the legs, to the feet. Sending that breath, filling yourself with prana. And your exhale breath is a sense of relaxation, release, and letting go. So letting go of tightness and tension in muscles or joints on that breath out. Then taking your focus into your lower body, all the way from the hips down through the legs, front, back, sides, and inner, into your knees, into the shins and the calves, and landing at the ankles, the feet, and the toes. And almost feel everything about your feet right now. You can actually visually be aware of each toe, each toenail, the skin covering the entire foot and ankle, the muscles, the bones, the connective tissue beneath the skin. and any sensations as you sit here in the feet. And slowly flip the palms up with your Bhu Mudra. Keeping the mudra there, just resting the thumb against the knuckles, the fingernails of the other fingers. The other two fingers still remain outstretched. Breathing in deeply, relaxing the mudra, wiggling the fingers, circling into the wrists, releasing the gaze, releasing your posture. Just circle through the shoulders, get the spine mobile, do whatever feels good, little twists, little side stretches. That's all on you, just to wake up for the morning. And just from that 5 minutes of sitting down. Okay, so let us focus on our feet, give our feet some love. So as we come to look at our feet, one of the most important parts of the body when we come to a yoga practice for standing balances. So just bring your foot in a little bit. You can rest the foot out to the side. I want you to be able to lift this foot up. So this foot can be here if you like, or on the sole of the foot. But just start to open up the toes. So give the toes some movement, stretching the space through the toes, moving the knuckle joints there of each little toe and big toe. And then start to feel the sole of the foot as you give yourself a little self-care, self-massage, using both thumbs on the sole and running down through the center line. If you've ever been to reflexology, you'll know that the foot is actually a map of the body. So big toe obviously being up towards the head and then coming down through the center line as your spine, and the heel is actually your lower body, your legs and your feet. And reflexologists obviously look at all of the organs, of the body as well within the foot. So you can start to come down towards the heel and then into the ankle. So this is where you can start to hold the leg and get some mobility into the ankle joint and just start to really find how much movement you can make. You can slow it down. You can speed it up. Oh, mine's cracking. I don't know if you can hear that. I've always had cracky ankles, clicky, clicky. Oh, there we go. Apparently it's just nitrogen in the joints. And then pointing and flexing. So what you could do there is if you like to hold underneath the knee, sitting upright, just flexing and pointing the foot. Notice if the foot goes off to an angle or it's turning inwards, try and track the middle toe along the shin bone, along the knee alignment there, and see if that changes or alters anything for you. And you know that the feet, the knees and the hips are all connected. So whenever we start to turn out from the hip, the knee and the ankle joint will follow, and vice versa. When we start to turn out from the ankle, the knee and the hip joint follow. So flexing, pointing, getting some mobilization in there. And obviously you'll notice that the calf will start to work as well, or the two calf muscles, the soleus and the gastrocnemius. And let's come to the other foot. So same principle, spreading out the toes, mobilizing into the toe joints. And you might notice that one side feels a little bit tighter or looser than the other. I know that my right foot is just, it's just easier, less challenging on things than my left foot is. We obviously would like to find balance. and then coming down through the center line, using those two thumbs, spreading the foot side to side. You might feel some bones on the top of the arch of the foot, coming all the way down to the heel, around the back of the heel, and then into the ankle joint, and starting to circle and rotate slowly or fast, whatever feels good. Noticing the calf muscle moving as you do that. All connective tissue, obviously, circling the other way, noticing clicks and crunches. Not so clicky on this side. Sitting nice and upright, grounding yourself through the sit bones. And then taking the leg out in front of you and just making sure that the foot isn't turning out too much or inwards, but the middle toe is in line with the knees and the shins, and you can flex and point. And really using the toes through that flexing and pointing, so pushing through the ball of the foot, extending to the toes, lifting the toes, pulling the toes back towards the shins. Good. So bringing yourself around into tabletop. We're going to introduce a little movement here with our cat and cow. So that is simply tucking the toes on your cow and releasing to the tops of the feet and pushing away a little bit through the knees. So we tuck the toes on our cow as we breath in. We want to push back through the sole of the foot. When we release and we round through the spine for cat, push away through the tops of the feet, lift the knees just slightly, pushing away through the palms. Releasing knees, tucking toes, inhaling for cow, pushing back through the soles of the feet. Releasing to the tops of the feet, lifting the knees a centimeter or an inch away as you round. Releasing, inhaling, wow. Exhaling, rounding cat. Tucking toes, cow, breath in. Releasing to the tops of the feet, lifting the knees away from the mat, rounding for cat. So just a few more. Just find that. A bit of coordination there, lots going on. And then release back to neutral tabletop, and then come down to child's pose. Come off of the wrist, take the knees wide, bring the big toes in towards one another to touch. Release the hips back towards the heels. Give yourself a little bit of wiggle room there, and then reach the hands nice and wide of your mat. So reaching middle fingers out, pressing the chest downwards towards the mat, resting the forehead. So notice here the tops of the feet. Some people find this even a challenge, into the tops of the feet as child's pose. If you do struggle to try this, you can always place something underneath the back of the legs. Nice and slowly starting to bring the hands back towards the body as you roll up through the spine. Bringing the knees together, little toe stretch. So tucking the toes underneath us, getting those heels underneath the buttock, and this might be enough for you to just stay here. We really want to be able to get the toes tucked as much as we can underneath. And then if you like, you can start to bring the hands back. The more that you come upright, the more weight goes into the toes. Let's find 8 to 10 breaths here. Try not to let the ankles splay out to the sides. Make sure they're right underneath those buttocks. And just breathe. Find the focus for the breath, anchoring knees and toes in towards the mat. If you find it too deep a stretch, bring the weight forward. Take the weight out of the toes. The toe joints, they are quite strong, but this may be something that you haven't done for a very long time. Nice and slowly release the hands, slowly release the toes. Feel the feet coming out of that toe stretch into the tops of the feet. Let them soften and relax. Feel that pressure release. And then come back. We're going to come into an ankle stretch here. So you're going to be lifting up the knees. Hands come back behind you. Again, the heels are underneath the buttocks and you're going to be lifting the knees. This stretches into the ankles. And the more weight that comes back, if you come down onto your elbows almost, it's going to be feeling quite deep stretch into the top of the foot, into the ankles. And the knees do not have to come too high. They might just come an inch. Good. Nice and slowly lower yourself forward. Come forward onto the hands and just release the right foot back. Give it a little circle. So the foot's off of the mat. You're pressing away through both hands and you're starting to circle through the ankle of the right leg. So you're pulling the thigh in towards the bone and you're lifting up through the abdomen. The spine isn't dropping here and you're pointing and flexing and circling, whatever feels good. Here we come into glute pulses and pull-ins. So we're going to start with the pull-ins, heel to buttock and extend from the knee. Flexing through the ankle, heel to the buttock, keep the thigh lifted, knee lifted. Couple times more, heel to buttock and extend the toes. Last time, heel in and extend. Glute pulses, bring the foot up 90 degrees, pulse the heel towards the sky 10 times. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Release the right knee down. Left leg presses back, flexing, pointing, circling. Keeping those toes turning down towards the mat. The toes aren't turning out towards the side. That's an external rotation of the hip. Keep the abdomen lifted. Spine is not arching. You're pressing away through the palms. Heel pull-ins. 1. Extend from the knee. 2. Keeping the thigh lifted. 3. And 4. And then bending into the knee. Lifting glute pulses. 7, 6, 5, 4. Pushing up through the heel. 3, 2, and 1. And lower. Release out through the spine, circle through the hips. And let's bring the right foot forward to a nice low dragon. So you can have blocks handy here if you should need them. So look at your foot here and just check, are you rolling out onto the outer edge? Are you winging the foot out in a winged dragon position? Or is the foot nice and flat here? So make sure that feels whatever, comfort you have for yourself. The right knee and the right ankle, if you can try and get those in a nice alignment. That heel isn't too far back. I want you to be able to put the foot down comfortably without pressure into the ankle and isn't too far forward of the knee. So you're not too far forward there. Okay, so just rocking from side to side, whatever foot position you feel comfortable, spreading the toes, try not to grip the toes in any way. And then wing the back leg. So we're going to kickstand it. You're going to press into those toe beds. If you're on a hard surface, you might want to pad out that back left knee or use a knee pad. And then start circling hips forward and back 3 or 4 times one way and 3 or 4 times the other. Notice if you're gripping the toes of the front right foot. Keep pressing into the toe beds of the back left foot. Nice and slowly release the left foot back, release the right foot back, left foot comes forward. Repeating on the other side, dropping hips, rocking from side to side. Few little circles, and then kickstanding that right knee, tucking the toes under, and then circling forward. Try to get all 5 of those right toes down, relaxing into the left toes. Circling one way and circling the other. Good. Then nice and slowly release the right foot, release the left. Tucking toes here, pushing through the hands, lifting the knees a little bit away from the mat. We're going to try to draw the belly back towards the thighs, lifting up the hips, bent legged, downward facing dog. Head stays nice and low. Look back towards the toes, spread the toes as much as you can, and try to press the heels down. Really deep, deep bend into the knees here. We're trying to keep the belly and the chest towards the thighs. Now start to release one heel at a time, stretching through the back of the leg. You're going to release through the Achilles, the calf muscles, the back of the knee, and the hamstring. Remember your upper body work from last week, the strength that you have in downward facing dog through the shoulders, through the arms, through the core. We're just pedaling out, releasing one heel at a time, stretching through the back of each leg. Introduce a little twist, bending deep into right, looking underneath right armpit, bending into left, looking under left armpit. Releasing to your downward facing dog, exhaling, releasing both heels together. Take a look at where the feet are. Are the heels just slightly turning out? Toes are facing forward. They are hip width apart. Nice and slowly looking forward, walking the feet step by step towards the hands, into the center of your mat. Bring the hands towards the back of, towards the front of the toes. Lots of words today. Phew. And then take a nice sway. So here, ground through all 4 corners of your foot. You're not rolling into the ankles at all. The heels are planted. The ball of the foot, all 10 toes are planted. Sway from side to side. Your knees are bent. Your head is relaxing. Your spine is relaxing. Your belly, your chest over your thighs. We're going to come into a Malasana squat. So bringing fingertips down, heel toe the feet out to the wider edges of your mat. Heels come forward, toes turn out. Nice and slowly releasing the sit bones down towards the mat between the heels. Give yourself a little bit of wiggle, left and right. And try to externally rotate the ankles back behind you, drawing the hands in towards the heart. Lengthening the spine, opening chest. Elbows are on the inside of the thighs. This might be a deep stretch into the inner groin here. And you can always use a block. You can sit on a block here. So making sure that the ankles aren't rolling forwards. Want to really be strong through the ankles. Feel grounded through both feet here. Nice. Release the hands, lift the hips, and turn the toes in where they are. So your outer edges of your feet are on the outer edges of your mat. If you have a block handy, that might be good. So block out in front of you. You might be lengthening through the spine here, lifting up the abdomen. Start to release the toes and the heels. So you might have straight or bent legs, but if you've got bent legs, make sure that the knees aren't rolling inwards. So the feet are as wide as your mat and the knees are as wide as well. Knees aren't knocking inwards. So you're rocking forwards onto the toes, backwards onto the heels. All the weight goes back into the heels. Be careful not to fall back. You're teetering. Toes, heels. You don't have to have a flat back. You can be in a fold if you prefer. Start rocking a little bit more. Forwards, backwards. Transferring the weight. And then release into the fold. Lift the heels up onto the tiptoes. Push the arches of the foot forward over the middle toe. Keep the knees nice and wide. Drop the belly between the thighs, and maybe the elbows connect in towards the calves. So it's kind of like an arm balance, like a high crane. Maybe you're on the fingertips, maybe you're on the block, maybe you're on the palms. Nice and slowly. Now release the heels. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Release the heels. Feel the weight come back into the whole foot. Hands come to the shins. Lift up. Hands come to the thighs. Lift up. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And then heel, toe the feet in. So heel, toe. Heel, toe. Tadasana. Mountain pose. Let's have a look at our Tadasana. So for some, I quite often have my feet hip width apart. When we think about hip width, we mean the outer edge of the foot in line with your hip. This is wider than hip width. I mean, unless you've got really, really wide hips, which I don't think anyone has this wide hips. And then toes come together and the heels are slightly out. So there's a little tiny gap. That's another option. So heels aren't together. You want to turn the heels out again. So the outer edges of your feet are a little bit wider. Make sure that one foot isn't turning out than the other. Make sure they're not pigeon-toed. And again, the knees. Keep a check of where the knees are bending. You know, particularly here, what happens is the knees may knock in. You need to engage the thighs. Knees directing over the middle toes. So let us come into a little balance here. So again, rocking heels and toes, forwards and backwards. Again, you can choose your option of that Tadasana posture. Fingertips reach down. We're going to eventually come up into a toe balance here. So lifting up the arms in front of you, coming up onto the toes. Try to push the arches of the foot forward. Try to keep the heel in line with the calves. Start to bend the knees over the middle toes. So you're keeping the spine nice and long. You are just simply bending the knees. Dropping down as much as comfortable. Ooh. And then push up. Return to that balance. And then slowly lower hands. Lower heels. Let's try that once more. See if you can go a little bit deeper in that squat. So lifting up arms, lifting up heels. Send the knees forward. Drive them forward. Use the core. Bending, bending, bending. Keeping the height of the balance. Or maybe you come down, but can you press back up again? And then lower the heels. Oh, and the hands. Well done. Let's work out into the ankles. So a little bit of heel lifts here. So Just hopping from one to the other, transferring the weight. And what we don't want to see with any of our ankles is that ankle splaying out to the side. We want to keep knee and ankle in nice alignment. So just transferring weight, and then you can release the foot. So you're lifting up, pushing the foot forward. And then this comes into a knee lift. You can flex the foot if you prefer. Feel the feet transferring. I've got such a sticky mat that it's sticky each time I release my foot. Sticking. So feel every single toe, all of the heel coming down. Slow this down from your knee lift. Slow it down. Gets the heart rate going as well. And then come back just to the toe heel transition. Slow, slow stillness. Breathe. Now we're going to come into a standing balance, tree pose. So finding your option. We're going to stabilize through the right leg first. And what we want to try and do is draw up through the upper knee. That ankle is super strong and all 5 toes are spreading out, and you almost feel that you're taking, your ground, your stability much wider than just your footprint. Choosing the first option, bringing the heel onto the ankle, turning the hip out, making sure that you're not over rotating the hip and you're swizzling the hips and swizzling the shoulders. Finding your drishti. Then bringing the foot to the calf. It rests upon the calf, knee out to the side. Start to stabilize through that right leg. And then maybe you need to lift the foot to bring it into the thigh. If you choose that option, you can, of course, stay at the calf. Try not to push the foot against the knee. I've got slippy leggings on, so I really want to be able to push the thigh against the foot and the foot against the thigh. Strong through the supporting leg, changing the arm position, keeping the drishti, not looking at the screen, but really focusing on your tree posture here. Stabilizing through that foot ankle, pulling up through the quadriceps of that supporting leg. The spine is long, holding you in place. And your roots of your tree are extending way past your footprint. The foot is working overtime to keep you balanced here, so just send the breath there. Nice and slowly, release the hands, release the foot. Come back into your chosen Tadasana. Try not to release yet if you feel anything going on in that foot. And for me, my foot was working overtime. Under here, I could feel all of these muscles of my foot working to stabilize my ankle. And my ankles, might be a little wobbly here. So coming to the other side. Grounding through the foot, drawing up through the quadriceps. Take the first position first of all, making sure that you don't turn the hips out too much, but just opening up the knee and the ankle and the hip together. Good. Bringing yourself into the calf position if that feels good. Again, trying not to push it against the knee, but it's lower than the knee joint. It's against the calf. Oh, this one's a bit unstable, but I am looking at the screen. And then finding your third variation, or you can stay here at the calf, bringing that foot in towards the inner thigh. The heel comes right up to the top of the groin, and you're going to push the thigh against the foot, and the foot is flexing against the thigh, and releasing the hands to wherever they feel most comfortable, in at the heart, out as branches, or up towards the sky above the head. Lengthening spine, softening ribcage, softening facial expression, finding your drishti, but breathing into your supporting leg, into your ankle and your foot. Have that feeling of rooting and the feeling of rising. Releasing hands, releasing foot, coming back into that Tadasana, trying not to fidget for a moment, just returning back to mountain pose. And just feel what it's like to return back to both feet. Now you might like to give the foot a little wiggle. How's the tree pose feeling? We're feeling a little bit more stable through the foot. We're going to come into a little bit of foot movement now with our sun salutations. So we want to think about the placement of the foot, how we're putting the foot down, where we're landing the foot, how the foot is landing. I want you to really focus on the actual foot positions rather than everything else within the sun salutation. So key focus in towards the feet and the ankles, lifting up, inhaling. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, half lift. Exhaling, hands come down. Look back behind you. Where are you going to place the foot? Nice low lunge, tucking the toes, lifting chest. Hands come down. We're going to look back. Left leg joins right with your down dog. Come forward into your plank. Feet stay where they are. They might kind of wiggle back if you need to. Lowering the knees, keeping the toes tucked. Chest and chin come down. Keeping toes tucked. Arching through the spine. Releasing to the tops of the feet. Pressing into the tops of the feet and the toes. Inhaling cobra. All the focus of this sun salutation is towards your feet and your ankles. Tuck the toes, come back through tabletop, or just lift the hips straight back into downward facing dog, breathing out, releasing heels down. Look forward, step the right leg through. Now, you may bring the right leg a little way, then use the hand to place the foot. Sometimes the hip movement doesn't allow us to bring that leg through in one go. We're keeping the back toe tucked, lowering the knee, lifting chest, dropping weight through the feet and the legs. We're going to step forward, so you might give yourself a little bit of impetus to do that. I like to lift up into the heel like a half splits and then rock myself forward, bringing the left through, exhaling into the fold. Inhale, half lift. Try not to grip through the toes, but spread them. Exhale, fold. Press through the feet. Inhale. Bring yourself up to standing. And exhale. Hands come down. We'll repeat that left side. So focusing on the feet and the ankles. Inhale. Upward salute. Exhale, melt and fold. Inhale, half lift. And look at your feet. Every time you go down, look at the feet. Hands come down, step back left leg, look back where you're going to place the toes. Drop the knee, sink the hips. Fantastic. Hands come down, look back, right foot joins left. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Release the heels. Inhale, come forward into your plank. So bringing the shoulders in line with the wrists, the toes might be hopefully in the same place. Lowering just the knees, the chin, the chest, keeping the toes tucked. As you release all the way to the mat, then you release to the tops of the feet, pressing into the tops of the feet, engaging legs and glutes, inhaling into the cobra. Try not to turn out the thighs, the ankles, or the hips. Tucking toes, pushing back through tabletop or straight up into plank and down dog. Look at the toes, look at the feet, release the heels. Look forward, step the left through, maybe 1 or 2 steps, keeping the back toe tucked. Release the knee. Give that little bit of impetus to step forward, bringing the right to meet the left. Exhale, no gripping through the toes. Inhale, half lift. All 4 points of contact of the foot connected to the earth, releasing and then inhaling, bringing yourself up to standing. And then exhaling. Hands coming down by the side of you, returning back to mountain pose. So hopefully that takes a little bit more focus into the feet and the legs, because everything, in sun salutations, we've got quite a lot to think about. We've got our breath, we've got our drishti, we've got our upper body. Everything, moves in sync together. But when we turn the focus towards the feet, it's a whole brand new difference. Right, another standing balance, which is where we were at in our tabletop. So this is your warrior 3. Right leg stabilizes. We're going to lift the left knee in towards the chest. We're going to flex the foot. And then we're going to start to pendulum our body forward as that left leg starts to push back behind us. Toes are turning down. You can always use your block here. I'd really rather that you used a prop if you need to. There is no external rotation in that back left hip. You are turning the leg. You're drawing the inner thighs inwards, rotating the inner thigh to the bone, turning the toes downwards, stretching back through the foot. And let's try those heel to buttock bends. So heel to buttock and extend just from the knee, keeping the thigh lifted. Heel to buttock and extend. Twice more, heel to buttock and extend. Make sure those toes still turn down. And last time, bring yourself back up into standing. Left foot meets right. Breathe out. Return to earth in mountain pose. Feel both feet stabilizing underneath you. So what I mean when we're in that warrior 3 pose, it's very easy to turn the hip out. So you see what's happened there. I've turned the toes outwards. We want to hug the inner thigh to the midline. Want to keep the spine long, abdomen lifted, toes are turning downwards. You're pushing back. Try to keep a straight leg in the lifted leg. It doesn't have to be high. It can be here, but you can bend through the supporting leg. Strong supporting leg, knee going over middle toe. And then when we're doing those heel to buttocks, want to keep the thigh lifted. Again, if you're here, that's great, but extend only from the knee. Let's go. Left side. Left leg stabilizes, right knee comes in towards the chest, flex the foot, push through the sole of the foot. Start to find the strength in the balancing leg and then teetering forward, pushing that leg back behind you, coming down to either find the balance, turning those toes downwards, internally rotating the thigh towards the midline. Lifting the heel a little bit, extending through the back leg, doesn't matter how high. Draw the heel in towards the buttock 4 times. Find the breath. You've got strength here through the legs and the feet. And then nice and slowly, return up. Whoa, to standing. I felt that in my left glute. Both feet grounding. Fantastic. Let's come down to our mat. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, melt, forward fold. Focusing onto the feet once more. Inhale, half lift. We're going to step back into a high or a low plank. So looking back, right foot, left foot. Gaze goes to the top of the mat, pressing away. Find the strength through the feet and the ankles. And then lower the knees, release to the tops of the feet, and come back into child's pose. Nice deep exhale. This is an active child's pose here, so knees, ankles, toes together. Belly, chest relaxes over thighs, head comes down between the biceps. Nice and slowly rolling up through the spine. Coming into kneeling, thunderbolt position, keeping the heels tucked underneath the buttocks. Again, this is very easy to do. Very easy to splay the ankles out. Try to keep those ankles underneath. And then let's bring the right leg forward. Let's try for half hero here. You can always use a block underneath that right buttock, but if you can, get the both sit bones down. We're going to open up the left foot to the side, release the left calf. And just stay in the half hero posture here if that feels good. Again, you've got the block to put underneath that right buttock. So just give the foot a little press out here so you can hold onto the sole of the foot. Give it a press. Try and relax into the toes. Give it a massage. Try and keep that left knee going down through the center line rather than out to the side. And this one is a half upward facing plank, so hands reach back behind you, either on blocks or fingertips or palms. We're going to point the right foot down, and then you're going to stretch through the quadriceps and the foot of your left leg, lifting the hips up. Try and bring the right toes down. Lift hips, open chest. Nice and slowly, bring the hips down. And release this foot across into a twist. So in this half twist, we really want to be able to ground through this big toe. This big toe is not lifting up. We want to be able to ground the whole foot, the whole ankle, making sure that the right leg is in line with your hip as well. It's not come across the body. And then turning into the twist, opening up the belly to the thigh, grounding through that big left toe. The underneath leg is engaged. You are drawing the toes of the right foot back towards the shin, sitting nice and tall, lower body engaged, upper body breathing in to lengthen, breathing out to deepen. Bring yourself back into center and release that left foot on the inside of your thigh, half butterfly or head to knee pose here. So you can just press that left knee out if it feels good, and that left foot is pushing against the inner thigh, or it might rest against the calf. Lifting up the arms, stretching the side body again, right leg is engaged. As you reach over and forward, maybe you take hold of the toes. You might take hold of the ankle or the shins, but keep drawing those toes back towards the shin. You can bend into the right knee if you need, letting the head drop towards that knee. There's 5 kilos of weight in the head. Really let the head relax. Try to soften through the left knee, making sure that that left foot is engaged. You are flexing through the foot. It's not sickling into the ankle. Nice and slowly, lengthen the spine away. Bring yourself up, lift the knee, and send that left foot forward. Half hero. So let me turn around over the other side. Be careful, bringing that right leg back. Bringing it back behind you again. You can always use this block to sit on. It just lifts the hip up, makes everything nice and easy. And then just make sure that the calf is away from the thigh. You can lift and roll the calf away and then bring yourself back in. Both knees pointing forward, and take the hand onto the toes. Give them a little press. Massage through the sole of the foot here, pressing, a little bit of pressure. And you might even find this really uncomfortable, so just go to whatever you feel you can here. Engaging left leg, sitting nice and tall. We're going to point that left foot down as we lift the hips and press into that back foot. Bringing the hands back behind you, either onto the blocks, fingertips, or palms. Half upward facing plank. Stretching that right knee downwards, lifting the hips, stretching through the quadricep, pointing that left foot, trying to get those toes downwards towards the mat. If you feel the cramp setting in, just wiggle the toes, release the ankle, lower the hips. Good. Bring yourself back. Nice and carefully lift that knee, bring it up and over into your twist. Again, grounding through the entire foot, including the big toe. Sitting nice and tall, getting the belly free of the thigh, and then finding Ardha Matsyendrasana. Engaging left leg, drawing toes back towards the shin, sitting nice and tall through the spine. We want these poses to be nice and easy and comfortable, firm yet relaxed. We don't want to be tense and tight. We want to feel engagement and contraction, but not too stiff. There's a fine balance. Keep pressing away through the sole of the foot, the heel of the left leg, grounding through the entire right foot and big toe. Bring yourself back into center as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, take that right leg on the inside of the thigh. Again, making sure that that ankle is active. It's not sickling. And then giving that knee just a little press if it feels good. Sitting nice and tall, engaging left leg, lifting up the arms, stretching the sides of the body and reaching up and over. And you can always use straps in head to knee pose. Focusing down onto the toes, the ankle, the legs. Reminding yourself not to weaken through the right ankle. Protecting joints. Exhaling, letting the head drop and release towards the knee. It's called head to knee pose. Nice and slowly lengthen the spine away, lifting back up and lifting that knee. Take the legs out in front of you, and this time bending the knees, soles of the feet flat on the floor, releasing into the toes and start to roll down through the spine. Keeping the knees, the ankles and the hips all in alignment as you come down to the mat And you can gently draw the knees in towards the chest, rolling and massaging out here. Circle the feet one way, circle them the other. Give those ankles a little bit of a shake. Take the feet up towards the sky. Look at the toes. Look at your amazing feet. Look at the ankles. Spread the toes. Bring the big toes in towards one another, little toes as far away as possible. Feel that stretch in the underside of the foot. And then relax and point and flex and move as you need. Release the feet and the ankles. They've served you well. And then you can come into your final relaxation in Shavasana, extending the legs all the way along the mat. You might prefer to bend the knees, and that's okay, and have the soles of the feet down onto the mat. You might prefer to have a bolster underneath the knees. But whatever you choose, when you get settled and you make those final adjustments, take the breath all the way down the legs. And you're breathing in and out of the toes, the feet and the ankles, the calves. Those are all, and the knees actually, all of those areas are the ones that have really, really worked for you today. So even in Shavasana here, relaxing the feet. You don't have to keep them upright. You can relax the feet out to the sides, softening. And it's important to give our feet and our ankles so much attention, so much love, even a foot massage, a pedicure, a foot spa. Walking on grass is really good, the dewy morning grass. Our feet do so much for us. Beginning to take a few deeper breaths now, just bringing your awareness back. I know it's a short Shavasana for the morning, but stretching, drawing knees in, rolling, massaging out and rolling out to one side. We'll return up to seated, and if possible, trying to come to Siddhasana, which is where we put one heel on top of the other. So you're going to bring the right or the left heel on top of the other foot. If it's not possible, you might want to sit on a block or something, bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra at heart center, sitting nice and tall. And for now, just take the focus down towards those amazing, beautiful feet that have prepared you for your day, whatever your day may bring. Love your feet. Give thanks to your breath, your focus, and certainly your feet and your legs today. And I thank you so much. Namaste.